warm August night in 1992, a 20-year-old woman named Laurie Depies finished her shift at work and headed to meet her boyfriend and friends, and somehow disappeared without a trace. Despite an exhausting investigation and even of a somewhat confession, the mystery of what happened to Laurie remains unsolved till this day, more than 30 years later. This is the haunting case of Laurie Depies, a case that has left her family and basically the entire Wisconsin town searching for answers up to this very day. Laurie Depies was a friendly, independent 20-year-old from Menasha, Wisconsin, who had just began to find her place in life. She was described by friends and family as creative, hardworking, and fun-loving. Laurie had recently graduated from Neenah High School and was working at a local coffee shop called Graffiti's. She had a close-knit group of friends and a loving family and a steady boyfriend by the name of Mark Baston. Laurie's life was seemingly on track to be a great success. She was considering attending college, was making plans for the future, and was known for her artistic talents and the love of painting. But everything changed on the evening of August 19th, 1992, when Laurie vanished without a trace. On August 19th, Laurie had worked her regular shift at Graffiti's coffee shop in the Fox River Mall. Around 10 p.m., she left work and drove her gray 1984 Volkswagen Rabbit to the Fox Cities apartment complex. That is where her boyfriend, Mark Baston, lived. Laurie would often spend time there. It was a typical night. There was no wild plans, no crazy party to attend. It was just a friends meetup kind of night.
Today marks 30 years since the disappearance of Laurie Depies.
But unfortunately, this time, things were not so typical, and Laurie never truly made it inside. Mark and two of Laurie's friends were waiting for her at his apartment, expecting her to arrive at any minute. When they heard a car door slam in the parking lot, they thought Laurie had arrived. Everyone seemingly got excited and ready for the night. But after a few minutes, when she didn't come inside, they began to wonder, what's taking so long? So Mark went to check on her and found her car parked in its usual spot. The car was locked, and Laurie was nowhere to be found. It was as if she had vanished into thin air, and after a few more minutes, her friends began to seriously worry. The Menasha Police Department was alerted almost immediately, and within hours, with quick thinking and execution from the police department, search efforts were underway. Helicopters, dogs, and search teams scoured the area around the apartment complex. Police officers interviewed neighbors, friends, and basically anyone who might have seen Laurie that night. But unfortunately, no one reported anything suspicious. As the days passed, with no signs of Laurie, the community of Menasha came together. Friends and family organized search parties, distributed flyers, and held candlelight vigils in her honor. Laurie's mother, Mary Wagner, became a driving force in keeping her daughter's name in the public eye, determined not to let this case go cold. But despite the outpouring of support and the efforts of both law enforcement and volunteers, weeks turned into months with basically no major developments. And the case of Laurie Depies was quickly becoming a mystery that no one could unravel. As investigators reviewed the case, several theories emerged. One possible suspect was Larry Hall, the biggest piece of shit to ever exist. But that's for another time. A convicted murderer and serial confessor who was already in prison for a series of crimes across the Midwest. In 2010, Hall reportedly confessed to abducting Laurie Depies, claiming that he had taken her from the parking lot that night. But investigators struggled to find any real physical evidence linking Hall to her disappearance. And, again, it's also known that Hall has an incredible history of unreliable confessions, which cast doubt on his claims and basically anything that piece of says. While Hall's confession provided a glimmer of hope for resolution, it was never substantiated. And again, no charges were ever filed in connection with Laurie's case. Again, the lack of conclusive evidence left detectives so frustrated and the family heartbroken. Remember, it seems that she was abducted. The entire scene lacked evidence. The only evidence they did have was a styrofoam cup of soda that was found on the hood of Debbie's car. But there were no other signs of her at the scene. No one saw her walk away. No one saw her leave the parking lot or even get into anyone's car. The only thing outside of that is that there was an overnight bag and a purse that was left inside the vehicle. Police say that there are a few distinct clues into Debbie's disappearance. Authorities believe that she was taken by someone that she knew, as it would be out of character of Debbie's to be willingly getting into a car of a stranger. And there really is no indication that she was forcibly kidnapped. The door wasn't swung, there was no signs of struggle. It just seemed like she really did just disappear. They think that she may have gone willingly with someone she trusted, and that potentially the harm was afterwards. The cup in the hood of her car had an unidentified thumbprint on which police may believe may have been from the abduction suspect. But, get this, judging from the size of the print, it was probably, although not definitely, from a man. Or a really, really small man. Regardless, no substantial evidence came up. No concrete answers were ever found. Others who were looked at were a man named David Frank Spanbauer, another incredible, outstanding piece of shit. Spanbauer, a known serial rapist and murderer, was a person of interest in Laurie Depies' case due to his criminal history and the fact that he had previously committed crimes in the region. However, while some believed he could be responsible, again, no solid evidence or confession ties him to her disappearance, leaving the case, unfortunately, still unresolved. They also suspected a co-worker who worked at the Fox River Mall with Laurie. It is believed that he had asked Laurie out that day, but Laurie said no due to her having a boyfriend already. Some say this individual may have followed Laurie and then proceeded to abduct her. I will say, this detail about the co-worker did come up in the investigation, but it did come up on a piece on the Dr. Phil show.
You said there was a boy that had been asking her out multiple times, right?
Yes. Is she?
Where one of her friends named Victoria retells how this same co-worker on the night of Laurie's disappearance had plans to meet up with friends and didn't really show up till hours later. She also recalls how she observed the co-worker acting rather strange, saying he was a bit erratic, and also he happened to be drawing gore images of women being stabbed by a man who was standing behind them. All these women drawn also resembled what Laurie was wearing on the night of her disappearance. But despite all of this, the individual has not been found since the day of her disappearance, as though it appears he has gone off-grid since the day of the incident. And every time they do find a location on the individual, by the time the law enforcement actually does reach the location, he is long gone. With all this said, there has been yet no substantial evidence linking him to her disappearance. Investigators looked into several leads over the years, including Laurie's personal relationships, but those leads didn't provide breakthroughs in solving the case. For Laurie's family, the loss was unbearable. Her mother, Mary, became an advocate for missing persons, working tirelessly to keep the search for her daughter alive. The disappearance shook the small town of Menasha to its core, leaving residents to grapple with the fear that such a tragic event could even happen in their community. The years following Laurie's disappearance saw a tightening of security in the area, with local residents becoming a little bit more vigilant. The community's faith in finding Laurie alive dwindled, but her family held on to hope that someday answers would come. Despite the passage of time, law enforcement has never given up on the case. Advances in forensic technology have allowed investigators to re-examine old evidence, but so far, nothing substantial has emerged. Cold case detectives continue to review the details, hoping that a breakthrough will one day lead them to the truth. As with many missing person cases, the lack of physical evidence has made solving Laurie's case incredibly difficult. However, detectives remain optimistic that someone with information may eventually come forward, or that new technology may unlock clues previously undetectable. Today, Laurie Depies' mother continues to advocate for her daughter and for other missing persons. She has worked closely with organizations like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, ensuring that Laurie's case is not forgotten. For those who knew Laurie, her memory is still alive, and her absence is felt deeply. Her family has never stopped searching for answers, and they continue to hold out hope that one day the truth will be revealed. Laurie Depies' disappearance remains an open case, unsolved after more than 3 decades. With no new leads and few solid pieces of evidence, the case remains a painful mystery for the family and the Menasha community. Anyone with information about Laurie's disappearance is urged to please contact local authorities. Even the smallest detail could be the key to finally bringing Laurie home. Someone out there knows something. Please let your peace be known. As the years pass, the questions surrounding what happened to Laurie Depies continue to haunt those who loved her. But there is always hope that one day justice will be served. I wanted to include what Laurie was wearing on that fateful night of her disappearance. And maybe it could help stir up some memories and help close this case. She was wearing a sleeveless black rib knit turtleneck with horizontal stripes. I'll say that again. She was wearing a sleeveless black rib knit turtleneck with horizontal stripes, black and white striped spandex shorts, black slip-on leather shoes. She was wearing a silver watch on her left wrist, and she was also wearing multiple silver necklaces, bracelets, anklets, and earrings. August 19, 2024 marks 30 years that she's been gone. As of this recording, it is October 21st. I found out about this case because of the anniversary. I saw a couple news outlets put out a piece. I watched, and I couldn't believe that me, an solved mystery fan, I guess you could say, did not know about this case. And I've watched I've watched practically almost every video on YouTube. So I took it upon myself. I really felt the duty that I had to make this video, at least to see if I could push some information out there. Nothing new, but at least the case. Put some light on it, you know? Anyways, if you did enjoy it, please like, subscribe, and share this video. I'm obviously new to YouTube. I appreciate the 12 subscribers that I do have. Thank you so much. And for anyone new, I appreciate you. I'm gonna try to upload at least every week or 2 weeks, as long as it takes me to make these videos. But I will keep uploading because I do love this. Thank you so much. Till next time, please stay safe. Good night.